to Funny Minds. I'm your host, Lynn B, and my co-host,
Edward Biss. How are you?
And today we have the pleasure of speaking to Myron Pinkin. Am I saying your name right, Myron?
Myron Welik.
Well,
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, Welik. Myron Welik.
That's right, guys. It's a pleasure to be here. Are you in Kansas City?
Oh, my heart is always in Kansas City, but we're in sunny Tampa, Florida.
Oh, great. Nice. Great.
I have family out there in Kansas City, and I used to spend my summers out there as a kid, so I'm all a Chiefs fan. And I'm enjoying
thank you
every
very
second
much.
of it now.
Thank you for the
I'm from Jersey, so I come down. And this is my son, so he's my co-host. And today's been a crazy day, but Myron, looking over your bio, I mean, like, I'm so impressed. Like, he was a millionaire, he lost everything, and it took you a while, but you got yourself back and you're a wheeler and dealer.
Well, I wasn't a millionaire, but it did take me 16 years, a little more than a while, 16 years of a while to reinvent myself. Absolutely. And yeah, back on my feet, I'm roaring. I'm 70 going on 50. That's exactly true. And
Okay.
Party tomorrow night. You guys are good timing. Too bad you're not here to celebrate that, because it'll be the first and last time. I'm having a big one, and we're all pretending, because I was a teenager in the 60s, right? I grew up in the later part of the 60s, together, a prejudice. So everybody has to dress like it's 1969, June 3rd, 1969.
Oh yes.
and everybody's wearing an outfit, June 3rd, 1969. So for a couple of hours, we're going back to the rock and roll Woodstock era, dressing like that. Music's only like that, but that's easy because it's the best music in the world, especially to dance to. It's a no-brainer. And it should be a lot of fun. So first and last time, because they ain't doing that at 80 and 90. Who the hell knows where I'll be? So this is my what do they say? My chance in the sun. But yeah, I have reinvented myself. Thank you for asking. I have successfully done it. As long as my health is strong, but the reality is I am 70, not 30 or 40, so I'm very cognizant of that. So I act with a sense of urgency, guys, as you can appreciate. And while my health is great, as you can see, my energy and my stamina and all that is voracious, comparable to any age. Who knows? Even Maseratis break down after a while. So yeah,
True.
Yeah.
True.
So nothing does last forever. Yeah.
Myron, where are you out of?
I'm out of Montreal.
Montreal. Excellent. I've been up there.
A Canadian.
Yeah, it's my wife's from Brooklyn, so I'm very much been a both. Yeah. So my dog's name is Brooklyn, by the way. So you can
think
I like Brooklyn.
I've lived in Brooklyn. I know Brooklyn.
I know. So yeah, Montreal is a fabulous city. In the winter, it's tough. It's like any of the Northeast. It's not going to attract a lot of people unless you like some winter sports. But come, spring comes, hits right to I don't know, November or whatever it is. Everybody's in hibernation. So the city is like a festival capital, one of the festival capitals in the world. It's a phenomenal city. 5 million people.
It's a very diverse city.
Very cosmopolitan city, extremely. Yeah, exactly. So it's a great city to visit, and Americans come here to get 30% to 35% more on their dollar. So that's a big plus.
Well, what made you go to Canada? And
I've always been here. I've lived. I was born here. I met my wife 37 years ago. Like I said, she's from New York, standing in line at LaGuardia Airport. So we were both standing in line. Here's this attractive woman, not being shy, because I believe shyness costs you money, and it probably costs you time in your life too. And I started to talk to her, and then a year later, we started to date. And then 3 years later, she said, let's get married, or I moved to New Jersey. So she has work. So we did. It's kind of like a movie story, but it was ours. And I'm Jewish and she's Catholic. So, but it worked out extremely well because she's from New York in the garment business. So you can appreciate she's probably more Jewish than me. And she is.
Oh, yeah.
I was just going to say that.
You're really.
I was just going to say that.
Absolutely. She
So wait
is.
a minute, you lived in New Jersey?
No, no. My wife lived in New York. I met her at LaGuardia Airport.
Oh,
I've
okay.
always lived in
I thought you said
Montreal.
New Jersey. Okay.
No, no. And then she moved back, and she agreed to. I wasn't going to move to New York, unfortunately. And then she agreed to pick up and move here 37, 38 years ago. I think if no disrespect, but I think if it was Cleveland or Kansas City, I probably never would have met her because I don't go there that often.
Right, right.
But she loves it here, and believe it or not, she's one of the few Americans that speaks French fluently. So for her, it's yeah, because her family is from France, so it worked. But
Wow.
it worked. So and going back to able to reinvent, and I guess that's one of the reasons why we're here. 16 years after I lost the business in 2002 was a nightmare for me. So talk about I couldn't have hit more rock bottom than I did. So any more rock bottom, I wouldn't be talking to you guys today. And that's a very frank. It was really bad, not just financially, but emotionally, because
Emotionally.
it kind of destroyed any kind of confidence that I had. It just was bad for 16, and it lasted 16 years. So that's, one might say, how'd you survive 16 years? So it was a struggle. So the only thing that kept me going, I was fortunate I had my wife, but really for myself is that I had, they call me a jackhammer, and that's my nickname. And you know what that means. I wasn't much a jackhammer back then. It was anything but for some reason I kept going. I got out of bed, I got dressed, even if I had nowhere to go. I dressed and pretended as if I had somewhere to go, and I kept going almost every day because
Right.
Yeah, and working on jobs. And one of the other things I did is that I call it staying young forever. What I mean is that I kept networking with mentor groups and like-minded people and meetups and entrepreneurial groups. And as we know, most of these groups are comprised of people 30 and under or 35, not 60 or 70 are not going there, fortunately. And so the energy and the vibe that people are just in the beginning of their life, early stages of their life, to build, and the promise and the excitement is infectious. And it's the right kind of people. It's the right kind of time for me to be around, as opposed to people that are kind of winding things down. That wasn't appropriate. I didn't really choose it. It kind of worked that way, but I kept going to networking after networking after networking. I mean a lot, meetups for years and years, until I met one person by chance in real estate, and he needed help. He started a business. I started to help him, and that was the beginning of me turning things around.
Nice.
I leveraged my skills, being a jackhammer. He needed money, then needed to find properties, and then I kind of expanded that. This was only 3-4 years ago. So at 68, I reinvented myself, not 28.
That's phenomenal. What business were you in back in the day when it just went south?
The clothing business.
Clothing?
Yeah, and that was a challenge, and a lot of mistakes were made, and then I kind of wandered. It was kind of like how somebody might be if somebody drops you in a desert and you have nowhere to go. If you survive it, that's the first challenge. You're literally a nomad. You're wandering. You don't know where you're going, what you're doing, or what's going to happen the next minute if you survive.
Hold on 1 second, Lisa. I just have to take this. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. For the listeners out there, it's so easy when times get tough and things aren't going right to just crash and burn.
Absolutely.
It's the people that persevere, and it obviously 16 years is 16 years. I mean, that's not a snap.
It's very hard. It's very hard to persevere.
Yes.
Those are just words. What I learned the hard way is that, of course, you're right, and intellectually people understand that, but then to actually practice and to live it, yes, you got to do it, because the alternative is not an alternative. The alternative is you crash and burn, like you said, and you surrender, and you'll never get back up again. Before you know it, it'll be over, and it's finished. You're absolutely right. So you get to a point, you either find a way or make a way, or you die. You die before your time. And
yes.
I died 100 deaths, and that's why I'm still here. But a lot of people can't, it's a combination of support, of people around you. You need many factors in your favor, especially when you're down and really down and out and emotionally bruised and battered.
Mhm.
It's almost as bad as physical. I mean, physical is the worst because
Sure.
sometimes it's fatal. Emotional, you can possibly come back. You can, but it's hard. There's no question it's very hard. But
Nothing in life is easy, but
no,
when times are that bad, it's really, you know, and unless you've been there, and
yeah,
it's hard to
exactly.
even speak of it, you know. And I've had those times. I went through a lot in my life, and that's why I can completely understand and respect what you're talking about and what you've gone through, because people lose a lot in
Yeah,
life.
yeah,
They do all the time, you know,
yeah,
more so than you would think.
yeah. And
And
meanwhile, time goes, right? It waits for nobody,
yes,
right? So the days become years, years become decades. So
yes,
it started at 25,
like
26
that.
in a snap. And you don't want to wait until you're 60 or 70. You got to operate like every day. If you're lucky, as an emergency. That's hard to do when you're 20 something years old because you think you're
Yes.
going to believe, you just act like you're going to live forever. And I understand that. I mean, it's not on your radar. And I understand you know, as opposed to somebody 60, 70, or 80, when they know damn well they ain't going to live forever. So,
Mhm.
unfortunately, and they're starting to face physical challenges or health challenges they didn't have necessarily at 20. So all that is perfectly understandable and normal. And somehow watch these molds and stereotypes, you know, and say, okay, I'm not 70, but I got to act like a 70 with a sense of urgency. That's also rare.
Yeah.
It's a mindset.
It is a mindset, and it's not easy, but you know, it has
Got
to
to do
be a
it.
decision that you have to make to
Right.
yourself. You have to say, you
Right.
know what, I don't care. I'm not losing to this.
And you start small. You start
Mhm.
very small, baby steps. But you got to be
Yes.
consistent too. It's like exercise, like anything else. It doesn't happen every day. And very often it takes a while till you see tangible results. You get aggravated, frustrated, and you give up, of course, because it doesn't happen instantaneously.
Well,
Impossible.
we're also in a culture where everybody has instant gratification or expects it.
Or they want it. Marvin, I greatly apologize. I'm so sorry. I
No,
threw down
please,
and
please,
I left my
please,
medication at home, so
please
it's
don't.
just been
Guys, I that's all true, and I think it's the good and the bad days. I'll tell you why I think that because it's at the end of the day, when it's over and all that, it's only the simple things in life that matter. And
Mhm.
I hope to God it would never get to the point, or I won't be here, where a simple kid's baseball game or hockey game or going to a park or taking a bike ride, the things that were seemingly simple and benign and commonplace and not excited are really, and falling in love and meeting somebody or going with a friend for are the richest stuff that life's made out of. Because at the end of the day, it's all you're going to remember.
Mhm.
So, you're not going to remember how many buildings you built. I don't think so. You're not going to remember how many franchises you bought, and you're not going to remember, how many trips you took. What you're going to remember are memories and the stuff, and it gets emotional so far. So, I mean, we're still people as long as
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you're going to remember, you know, times that you were able to touch people and help people,
yeah,
and people helped you.
right.
You
Yes.
know,
Yeah.
sometimes you feel, I've been at that point where you feel weak and you feel vulnerable, and someone
yeah,
stepped up and was strong for you,
that's right.
and until you experience that and you realize, wow, there are people that do care, and this motivates me to do better for myself, and
Right.
put your napkin down, and get serious and get out there and do something.
I was always very community oriented and tried to do that with my kids too. Like, so, raising 4 children and
Wow.
working and going to school but I still joined all these organizations. I still was a class mother. I was a rec commissioner. I was the president of this. I was, DARE program. It was just giving back and helping people,
She just Myron, she just wanted to be. She just
No,
wanted to be. She
but
wanted to tell everybody.
Well,
but
I was a CFO. I was the big kahuna. So what are
but
you going to do?
yeah, I don't know. A lot of people I hear you, and I think that's unbelievable. But a lot of people won't do that. They don't do that. Or
No.
they never are short of time. And and I know that's BS because
Mhm.
Right.
that's the biggest excuse in the world. Okay. There's always time if you want to make it. What the hell you want to spend your time on and prioritize? Stop telling me I don't have enough time. That's because you don't know what you're doing with your time, or you're not prioritizing your time, or you're wasting your time. You know, the biggest friend and the biggest enemy we all have is time. It's time.
Mhm.
I got to the point, guys, where it took me, I learned first things last, and it took me forever. Is that unless something brings me, a peace, profit, or a purpose. I repeat, peace, profit, or a purpose. I don't waste any time. I don't give it my time, energy, or attention. Okay,
Okay.
because I can't afford to. Because I'm bombarded, literally, it's like an attack of distractions. Okay,
Mhm.
social media. So yeah, you have to be extraordinarily selective and careful. It's an art. It's a profession just to be focused.
Well, it's like the old adage, worry about what you can control and don't worry about what you can't.
Yeah,
To it,
that's true. You can't control it, walk away.
but that doesn't mean you stand still.
Right. Right.
You have to move forward. And you talk to us about the jackhammer effect.
Yeah.
I like it. And first of all, I want to be clear. You stole the name from me. Jackhammer actually is my porn name. So I'm gonna have to sue you. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, I have no comment. I have no comment on that. But Jackhammer is a pretty popular name out there, and it's simplistically put as anybody, whether you're in the construction industry or not, I think they know what the metaphor is. Somebody who created it, it's a machine you bring on a construction site and
Right.
keeps going when others do not. Okay, and it keeps blasting a hole in something, literally,
Mhm.
and it's brought there to do something. So the metaphor is obvious, I think so, and people have nothing to do with real estate, not related, know what the term, because it really is a great name by itself and unique, whoever created that name. Very unique. So and I think it's very universal because wherever you go in any language, it's known as a jackhammer. I think so. There's nothing else to call it. It's a real
Absolutely.
idiom. So the effect is simple. It's called perseverance. It's called being resourceful. It's called never giving up. It's called follow-ups. I mean, the only reason I have success what I do in real estate or anything is that, you know, I try 1,000 times to get one or two successes, and it's okay because you have to do that. But I'm okay with doing it.
Right.
I take it personally. I don't take it emotionally. I don't get devastated. Person says no or not for them. Next, there's always another
Mhm.
opportunity. That may be easier said than done. I understand all that. Everything is easier said than done. But if you can't get that kind of mindset, you're dead.
I agree. I agree. And it comes through more so in the world of sales,
Yeah.
obviously, because I mean, every business has its challenges, but sales is unique.
Yeah, they don't teach you that in school. Remember that.
No,
No. No.
I
no.
wrote a book called The Jackhammer Effect, how to break down doors and make business deals happen for those who believe they cannot. And it's one of the things and if they do teach you, get the hell out of there. They shouldn't be teaching you. You got to get out there. It's by practice, by doing, by mentors, by coaches, by people who have been men and women who have been successful in it, who you learn and you grow by getting out there. Unfortunately, not by going to Stanford or Harvard or Yale or the University of California or the University of Florida, whatever. I don't remember anybody, and if they do, they can't teach you that because it's just not by definition an environment, unless they create an environment, which they're not going to ever create.
Mhm.
Okay,
Well,
conducive for that.
I don't know if my son talked to you about this when I was away, but did you talk about the Heidi Klum, the deal that you did with Heidi Klum and New Balance? I mean,
Yeah.
like, oh, you did talk about it?
No,
No, we
You
didn't. We did
didn't.
not talk about it. No.
Oh, well, I'd like to
Please
know,
do.
is this something you're doing all the time, doing, taking people
Well,
and putting them together with sponsors and enhancing their brand or whatever?
yeah. The answer is yes. The short answer, as a politician would like to say, the short answer is yes. But who knows? But I'm not a politician. I wouldn't make a good one, and they'd make too much. The cartoonists would have too much fun with me, my wife said. And I have too many idiosyncrasies. But when Heidi Klum into balance, it was around 2010, 2012, when the athleisure wear was exploding. Lululemon is one on the forefronts. They're still around today and very strong. But many other players were involved, especially in women fashion apparel for exercise and health and wellness and fitness and all that. It was beginning earlier stages exploding. It's stronger than ever today, as you know. And at that point, I was working with a company that had the world rights to Heidi Klum. She's based in LA, and she was just finished her pregnancy with Seal, who's not married. Who, by the way, I've also worked with Seal too recently. But
fantastic.
Oh, wow.
by coincidence, I'll tell you that story. But anyways, so Heidi Klum, the company I was with, she was finished her pregnancy, and you know, 9 months are done. She had her kid, all was good. And what we were going to do next, and how was she going to leverage her brand? And I came up with the idea of, well, maybe we do a running shoe or something. I was telling it, and then that's kind of cool. She'd love to have her name on a running shoe or sneaker or whatever you call it. That's kind of cool. But even back then, the giants like Adidas, Nike, they were still giants, 20-something billion dollars. That's just telephone numbers for most people to ever understand. Impossible. They were giants already, and there were many others, like them. And one of them was called New Balance, which is a very, very tremendous company we all know, who makes a tremendous quality. But so I felt a running shoe would be good because Heidi Klum didn't have it. She was, I don't know if she was in her 40s, and I forget how old she was then, but she was already pretty well known before America Got Talent. But she was very well known. She was a real businesswoman. She's a brilliant woman, besides being a beautiful woman, of course.
Right.
Extraordinarily talented woman. Tremendous respect for her. Tremendous. And so I suggested maybe we do New Balance. Why? Because New Balance was not a public company at that point. They still are not, to my knowledge, and they were and being not public, there's less bureaucracy by definition to communicate. Number two, and I don't mean to mitigate these numbers, but they were only doing 2.5 billion or something at that point. Now, but that is obviously astronomical numbers in anybody's world,
Right.
But compared to Nike, Adidas doing 30 or 40, they were small. So you have to compare apples with apples, or shoes with shoes. And they were all, Nike and Adidas was like talking to God, and they were sharp, they were on it, they were already doing their own thing. They were certainly not asleep. Was New Balance asleep? I don't know if they were asleep or they weren't sure what to do, but their fashion business for women was a nightmare, disaster. It was back in the 40s and 50s, great. It was just, and they were missing an opportunity. They probably knew. So I thought, after doing a lot of research, I said that, I'm going to reach out to New Balance. And Heidi Klum and the rest thought it was great. They loved it. They asked one very valid question. Who does Myron know at New Balance? And the guy I was working with says he knows nobody. Oh, they said nobody. Okay, so how are you going to do it?
Yes.
So
It is.
they said, well, okay, let's see what Myron does.
So much.
Okay, you can do it.
Really
Anyways, so a couple of months later.
Thank you. I can't even tell you how much I appreciate
the Jackhammer effect. Kept calling. Emails were doing then. Social media wasn't as sophisticated.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Emails, of course. And it was 2010, 2005.
Okay, bye-bye.
And I connected with them. Eventually navigated to find the right person, even though it was difficult. They didn't do much licensing. They didn't do sponsoring sports personalities like they did very little of that. I don't think they do tons of it today, but compared to Nike and Adidas, they did very little of that. Okay, even especially back then. So eventually I got a meeting, their world headquarters in Boston, Mass. I got a meeting with our people, their people. Several months later, a year, we struck a deal and started to sell Amazon. So if you go on Google now, you'll see HKNB, Heidi Klum New Balance. I still think it's around. They have it. She has those initials on the sneakers or running shoes and on women's apparel. So that's how I did that. With Seal, during the height of the pandemic, literally 2020 or 2021, it was still lingering. Everything was mobile. Everything was distance from the office, right? Hard to remember, but it was. And I through a networking event online, I met a young lady who has a big marketing company in Los Angeles. One of her clients is Seal, and he couldn't go and do concerts, right? Because you couldn't do that in public.
Exactly.
But he could do distant concerts. He could sing
Right.
Online concerts.
Yeah, well, or even long. They were trying to figure out how he could promote himself. So you have to be very creative. So we found out that he loved, and he's English. Remember, originally from England. Even though he played all his life, he loves New England Patriots. I don't know if there's any coincidence because they're called.
Really?
I have no idea.
Are you serious?
He loves them, and
Wow.
and he's extremely knowledgeable about football, and extremely knowledgeable. But he's a very nice guy. You guys love him. He's a very nice guy. Anyways, so
He's a hell of a talent.
Yeah.
It's right, absolutely one of the best, classic, iconic, and I met him a few times on Zoom. Great guy. And then I reached out once I heard that he was interested in the Patriots. I connected the head of marketing of the Patriots. That's a story in itself how I did that. And I did that. I never knew anybody. I also
that's not just a simple phone call.
Yeah, no.
yeah. At that point, and they were answering their cell, right? Because that's all they can communicate. I also connected with Lacoste America, that famous French brand, because he loved Lacoste. I don't blame him. The upper end brand, the American one. They're owned by a French company. They're a French company, but they have a big American division, of course. And so with the England Patriots, we went so far as I proposed it. We went so far, we had a Zoom. This was great with several of the marketing people of New England Patriots, Boston, Seal, and Sarah, who's the my contact, the head of his not agent, but his head of marketing, who was helping him, working with him. We all had it. And he spoke for half an hour, very knowledgeable. He was great. Totally, oh God, how am I doing here? Totally enthralled. Hold on. I lost you. Hold on a second. Hello?
We're here.
We're here.
Okay, sorry. Okay, there we go. I lost you. Sorry about that. So
That's okay.
we enthralled everybody on the Zoom. They wanted him to sing. It would be long distance, I think, or if he came, it would be to an empty stadium. Anyways, but we couldn't agree on the financials, unfortunately. So we couldn't agree on that. So that didn't work out. But we had a Zoom there, which was phenomenal. And they were in awe listening to him. He was extremely cordial, smart, funny. He was great just to listen to. It was worth just to listen to. You would have loved him. You'd love him. He was impressive.
Wow.
His knowledge of football was absolutely blow your mind. I mean,
Really?
yeah, incredible.
That's incredible. It's got to be one of those moments in time where you just sit back and giggle a little bit and go, I'm on a Zoom call. I'm on a Zoom call with the Patriots and Seal.
Well, funny you say that because I only found out late because I wanted to have supper with him. Now he's on a world tour, and he's like, if it's Tuesday, it must be Belgium expression, like the movie. And he was in Montreal. Unfortunately, I missed him, and I reached out to his marketing people too late because I was going to ask her. Who knows if he could have, but a couple weeks ago to have supper with him or have coffee or meet him because he knows of me. I know of him, not well. I would have loved to have met him if he could have, but he's only here one day. And unfortunately, I missed that opportunity. If I go to LA, I will see if I can make it happen.
Well, hey, COVID was crazy times, and
Well, yeah.
but that's still an incredible story because not only dealing with Heidi and Seal, I mean, you can see how they wound up together.
Yeah, and not wound up together. But the incredible thing about all this, guys, is they did it all online. Online.
Yeah. Well, look with social media and everything that you can do nowadays, it's insane. It's crazy. But are you working? Are you working with other like actors, actresses?
No. What I do today, what I'm doing in that area, besides my real estate, I'm helping right now. One of my main client for strategic partnerships is a major American-based telemedicine company who provides bioidentical hormone replacement and other things. Operate all 50 states. We're looking to find strategic partners, meaning like well-known marathon, people that would complement either spokesmen or influencers, people in the wellness field, people in marathon people, social media people, maybe companies that are in the not in the medical part, but in the health and wellness, especially
Right.
women health wellness field that has could be snacks, it could be a lot of different things, gyms, fitness areas, even apparel, yoga apparel. So my responsibility is there to try, which we started just a couple of months to find them what we call strategic partners to help accelerate their growth.
Okay.
We need, I would say hire him right now.
I'm dying to get L'Oreal. I want L'Oreal in the works.
You want L'Oreal, I love it. Yeah.
Because I put purple in my hair, and Myron, I can't tell you, every day of the week, this is not a lie. No matter where I go, men, women, teenagers, always compliment my hair. We love your hair. Who does your hair? I do it myself. What do you do? L'Oreal, I tell them the whole 9 yards. And I said, I'm going to start asking these people if I can date them.
Right.
And then I'll put something together and send it to L'Oreal and see if they'll sponsor.
Yeah, nothing to lose. Nothing to lose. You
really,
never know.
Nothing venture, nothing gain.
Well, you're customers. You're the real customers,
Absolutely.
And you've got to be millions like you across America. Think of it.
Right. And it's just like the perfect fit. It would be a perfect fit. It would be wonderful.
And if it's not L'Oreal, it could be many, many other people. There's a lot of startups, a lot of people that may be easier to reach and talk to than this kind of like talking to God, L'Oreal. But
right.
I always felt, and I don't know the answer to it, but people get too big for themselves. And if people like L'Oreal and all these companies that, it seems impossible to talk to unless you know somebody. If they just had one person working there who was instructed, or a small group, to say, this is a startup. No, we're not doing it $7,800 billion. You're doing $500,000 and you're barely paying the rent. Go look and see what ideas and partners we can find out there. That's all I want you to do. What can you do? Now, operate like a mentality. Who knows what you're going to find, because there are extraordinarily talented people out there. And
there are.
They just get discouraged and they don't know where the hell to start or reach, and they're intimidated by a company like L'Oreal because, like they correctly say, and they're right. Please, L'Oreal, they're never going to talk to me. Who's going to talk to me? I mean, unless I know someone there or by accident get lucky, which I'm not that lucky, and meet somebody, there's no way in hell that I'm going to be able to talk to anybody that is of who can actually
pull the trigger on something like that.
Well, you know what? I don't feel that way. I feel like I'm the type of person that I'm just going to keep trying. I'm just going to keep.
Well, that's but that's different. You see, that's a jackhammer effect, right
there.
She is a jackhammer.
I am. I'm a female jackhammer.
You're a jackhammer.
Jackhammerist.
Jackhammerist. But there are a Ms. Jackhammer. There are no females or males. We're gender free, please. Okay, we're totally
gender neutral hammer.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't get more neutral. If there was a civil war, we'd be nowhere right now. We don't want. We love everybody. It's all. We just want to talk about Jackhammer effect. The rest is not our business. Please don't drag us.
It is true. I mean, obviously, what you speak of in the jackhammer effect is really hammering your way through life. Keep staying persistent and just keeping at it.
Focus. Focus,
because where focus goes, energy goes. Okay.
Yes.
And the other thing that's so important is it's not about you. If you think about the gift that you're bringing to share, and whatever you are called to do, you can never go wrong because you're honest, you're authentic. It's when you're trying to do the other stuff that you stumble, you get nervous, you look questionable, But if it's really you, then you'll also find out the people that have no time or patience are not interested in you. Then screw them. You don't want to talk to them anyways. You can't talk to everybody.
Right.
And being a jackhammer is not just business, because anything, whether you have kids, as you know, you have somebody you love, if you don't invest time into something and keep going, it's never going to happen. Things
exactly.
Most men or women, they will never stop being relentless on their business because it's obvious it's gonna fall down if they do. and sometimes things suffer because of that. Personal life with others, I know it's an impossible balance at times. Of course it is, but if you don't put time in, you can't take anything for granted. Somebody loves you, you can't take it for granted. You got to put some effort and time into it and do stuff, because the worst that's going to happen is that sometimes somebody doesn't care anymore. It's called apathy. That's the most dangerous thing, because then you're really screwed. Okay, so you have to invest time. When my kids, I try anyways. When my kids were, they're now in their late 20s, early 30s, but when they were teenagers and going to the clubs, older teenagers and partying and everything, and they could be out till 2, 3 in the morning. Of course, I never slept. Anytime they call me, my wife always says, I'd come pick them up.
Right.
And their friends loved it. I'd take them home at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'd get out of bed and go. I would never say no,
Right.
because I always wanted to see they were okay. And I could tell in the back of the car they're okay. I didn't have to come up much, but I knew they were okay and things were good, and they were good and happy. And I also knew the day would come, which has come, when I would never be able to do this again, which unfortunately it's come. Okay. The same thing when I coached them for sports, baseball, hockey, whatever it was, that had a limited time, like everything in life. The day would come, which has come and gone, where that opportunity is gone. I don't have it. So but I have no regrets, because I grabbed it while I could. But so many of us, like anything, the day comes when it's going to come for all of us, and it comes when you just run out of time. It's too late. It's going to be too late if you don't do what you got. It's going to be
Really.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I totally
completely
100% agree with you.
And,
Yeah, so-
and
all this is to say is that if you care enough about something, only you got to invest time in it.
Well, yeah.
Whatever that is.
I mean, that's how I feel about anything that I ever got involved in. I was very passionate about, very, very passionate about. And that passion carries you forward, and it helps you in so many different ways. And if you have a creative mind and you're willing to work hard, I always say, you can make things happen. There might be detours. You got to find a way around it, under it, over it, whatever. But, keep going. You just keep going.
Keep going. And that famous song called All the Way? It's no good unless he loves you all the way. That's
Oh, yeah.
When that's not just to do with love, that's anything. Unless you're in it all the way, as you learn, you're not in it anyway. It's not real, and it's not going to last. Okay.
Right.
So it's no good unless, so if you let me love, I'm going to love you all the way. Yeah. That's a reference to a man and woman, or a woman and love, but it applies to anything you're doing. Okay. Whether it's your work, whatever your passion, whatever you love, you learn, unless it's all the way, you're wasting your time. You're really wasting your time, generally speaking.
That's true.
Be great at it too, So I think it's a silly little song, but it's not. It's a brilliant song, very short, but the words are very prophetic and brilliant, because
without a doubt,
it's exactly that.
Yeah.
It's exactly
Well,
it.
Myron, it's been a pleasure talking to you. And I love your exuberance. I love, everything about you. I mean, you're a very incredible man, and I'm going to say happy birthday ahead of time.
Thank
and
you,
hope that you have the greatest birthday ever. And
69. Summer 69. You're gonna hear some Hendrix. You're gonna hear a little.
Oh
Janis
yeah.
Joplin,
Oh yeah,
Fudge,
Joplin.
Crimson,
Everything. Yeah, it's gonna be like being
Joe
at Woodstock.
June
But
3rd.
no, it's been a pleasure, and I really apologize for the interruption.
Don't worry about it.
It was unfortunate, but
It's my pleasure to meet
it
you
had to be
guys.
done. I apologize to my audience for it also. But Myron, I just enjoyed listening to you, and you are a very incredible person. And I'm very glad for your wife that the two of you met at the airport that day.
Yeah.
That's a nice story. I love that.
Yeah.
So
and get the Jackhammer effect.
yes, and get the Jackhammer effect.
I got lucky. Yeah.
Where can Myron? Where can everybody find you?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for asking. So I think the best way is I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook now posting, and my email, I guess you guys have it, right? So you could post that, please.
Okay.
Anybody wants to reach out, I'd love to speak to them. When do you think you're going to post this?
Well, it goes to the producer, so I'll let you know what the date is.
Please.
But do you have like sites like that you can tell the people, like,
Yes.
please give us your sites, what they
Well,
are.
that mean you want me to send you my links? Is that it?
Yeah,
Okay.
tell the audience what your links are.
Yeah. So can I email that to you?
Oh, no, tell the audience.
Oh,
You
tell
can
them.
definitely email it too.
Oh, you can
Oh,
email it
okay.
too, but if you tell the
Oh.
audience, everybody knows.
Stupid me, my son. Well, my LinkedIn is just under my name, Myron Welik. You have to go, find me then, MYRON WELIK. I think without giving Instagram, look under my name. The best way is to look under my name. You'll see me in Instagram. I've been posting for a little while, not long. And in Facebook, the same thing. And LinkedIn, you'll see. I'd love to connect because when it'll pop up, that's how we do it. Like I connect to you guys, Facebook and what's it called, Instagram. Sooner or later, by the way, one of my ambitions, I've not done it yet, guys, but one of my ambitions is to get onto TikTok and just go a little wild.
Oh, do it. I'm going to do it. I'm definitely doing it.
You'd be
So
great.
yes.
You'd be
Oh
great.
yeah. I'm going to put my purple wig on now because I'm Mama Metal. With my
Why is
purple
that?
wig, I'm Mama Metal.
Why purple wig?
It's just a crazy look, and it's Mama Metal, and it's Senior Adventures, and I'm gonna do all kinds of little crazy things.
What do they
and,
call that? It's her alter ego.
Yeah, it's my alter ego. There you go.
That's
Well,
great.
all of his friends gave me the nickname of Mama Metal, so that's what
sure
I'm gonna
very
do under.
appropriate. That's great.
Myron, it's been a pleasure.
Thank
And
you.
to my audience, we're funnyminds.com. If you go on our website, we do have a store, and you can buy some Funny Minds shirts and whatever. There's a whole slew of different things, but there's also two organizations that we're very close with that we are aligned with, and that's Women's Breast Cancer and St. Jude's Children's Hospital. And when you go on the site, you're going to see a big purple button. And, if you would push that purple button, you can donate to our organizations because they do wonderful, wonderful things. And I tell everybody before I leave, be happy, be healthy, be wise, be safe, smile, and always laugh because laughter is the best medicine.
Very true.
Myron, happy birthday.
Thanks, guys.
Have a ball, have a drink on me.
I will.
And
I have two.
Enjoy yourself.
I will. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And bye-bye.
Stay well. Stay healthy, guys.
Well.
We will.